everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Jayson.
And we are father
and son.
And Jayson, what are we tackling this time, sir?
We are tackling Lost Season 2.
We're already doing the second season of Lost?
Yeah. But that's kind of because we were halfway through Season 2 when we did the Season 1 video.
Yeah, when we shot that first video, we already had that season long behind us, and we actually had to separate out and try to remember what happened, or you did. I mean, I know it fairly well. And the first season has always been my favorite season, so it's not as difficult for me to, separate that out. But we talked about just that first season for the most part. Now we're going to already be into the second season. This will slow down a little bit, but we're watching one of these a day. Jayson and I have had this ritual lately where we get up in the morning and we watch an episode together. And so, I don't know, another 2, 3, 4 weeks, we'll be ready for it. Maybe not even 4, we'll be ready for another one. And we did do a little bit of what we did last time, where we are already into the next season. We had said last time that we were going to do a video immediately after we finished watching season 2, which was the plan, but then we had a couple days where we couldn't shoot in the afternoon. Pardon me. And we didn't want to slow down our watching just for the video, so we decided that we would just kind of talk about wherever we're at when we do these. So primarily we're going to be talking, of course, about the second season, but we'll also be talking about the beginning of the third in relation to the cliffhanger, and because Jayson knows how that resolves, so he won't be wondering where things are going as far as that goes. We'll still talk about Jayson, your predictions and things that you're thinking might be going on with where we're at the moment.
And I forgot to put that down on my piece of paper, but
do you have some though?
I'll probably come up with some.
Yeah, sure. So, as always, we're going to get Jayson's thoughts on a thing that he's looking at for the first time, first impression, and have a fun father-son discussion about it. So, Jayson, second season of Lost, did you like it better or worse than season 1?
I think it's better than season 1.
Really?
Yeah, I really like season 2. Mostly because they spend so much time in the hatch, which is a place that I really like.
Yeah.
And I just think the story is a little bit more fleshed out, and also there's a bunch going on, kind of more than the first season.
Yeah, so what I was always really drawn to with the show more than anything, and don't get me wrong, the mysteries are interesting, and I did get sucked into the mythology, but I was always a lot more interested in the individual character stories. And that first season is really character-driven, and obviously there's a whole lot of different converging stories that are happening, and some are better than others, and some characters I'm more interested than others, but I really liked having the mythology and the mysteries more in the background. And obviously, at some point, as we're doing in season 2, those are going to have to come a lot more to the fore. There's something of a parallel history with Smallville with this too, where when you get into that second season, suddenly it starts to be a lot more about the Superman mythology. But so that stuff is still interesting to me. But going back on a rewatch, knowing where all this is going, I'm finding myself less engaged by that stuff than I am in some of the character drama. But first time around, I think I was again always more interested in the character stuff. But I think like the hatch and that kind of stuff like really grabbed me, like it is you first time around.
Yeah. And then once you keep watching it, you're just like, oh, it's a hatch. It's another place that they go way too much.
Well, and some of it is just because some of that stuff ends up not paying off as interestingly as it's set up, in my opinion. But I'm really interested to see how you feel about that once we find out a lot more stuff. Now, it's not like we don't get any answers this season, which is good, because we're starting to get a lot
of answers
this
season.
Because we're starting to get into Dharma and getting at least some hints as to why these facilities were built. I mean, we don't know everything. By the end of the season, at the beginning of third, we know that there's some kind of electromagnetic thing happening with the island, and that the hatch was built to keep that at bay. and that there's some kind of like really special, strange, supernatural properties going on with the island, which we already knew, but that's like really confirmed by the fact that there's this organization that came in and was doing experiments on it.
Yeah.
So why do you like the season so much? Like what specifically? I mean, besides the hatch, like what else with the mysteries and the mythology was really engaging you?
I kind of like. I kind of like the characters more
Oh, interesting.
in the second season than in the first season.
Okay, so you're saying that you like what I'm liking, but it's better in the second season.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I like the character, like, just, in the, beach more than their, like, stuff backstory. I think I liked the backstory stuff better in one.
Okay, so the flashbacks aren't as great.
Yeah, but the characters are better.
Did you see some of the flashback episodes this season as being a little bit superfluous? What I mean is, like, they didn't matter as much as they did in the first season, where it's like, well, we really need to do another Jack episode, so we'll give you something about his background.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not saying that stuff's not important and doesn't inform his character, but just using that as an example, did you ever feel like, you know, how come we need yet another flashback for Jack or for Sori or?
Yeah, I didn't really think we really needed some of that stuff.
So you didn't love the background with his wife that divorced him and...
Yeah. I don't really like that whole thing with, like, the marriage stuff and whatever. And, yeah. I just don't know anything about it, so I'm just like, what?
Yeah, well, I can see why that wouldn't be as engaging to a 10-year-old. But yeah, I always felt like that stuff was played a little bit melodramatic, and that Sarah, his wife, that character, comes off a little bit kind of stilted and typical.
Yeah. She's kind of cool in the first season. And then she just breaks up with him, and I kind of want some of the characters from the flashbacks to actually be, like, on the island.
Yeah. I'm saying nothing.
Yeah. But, like, some of the characters, like maybe Sarah or somebody from a Hurley flashback or something.
Yeah.
Or, like, come to the island. And
which is weird because we sort of have that with Libby retroactively.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't in his flashback before, but that's only because the camera didn't turn over to see her, right?
Yeah, I don't really...
Well, I say that. We didn't actually see the asylum before, or the psych ward.
Yeah. I don't like flashbacks and things, or just stuff that is from a person's perspective that goes over to something that they usually don't see.
Yeah.
I don't like that because it's supposed to be from that person's perspective, but they aren't seeing that thing.
So you're saying that we're not in our character's head enough? It's not.
Yeah.
We're not staying with that person, so they know something we don't.
Yeah. It's like.
Sounds like a me complaint.
Or we know something that they don't.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
All right.
Should I start with good things or bad things?
Start with bad things.
Okay.
That should be fun.
Locke's crazy at the end because he's like yelling at Echo, and he's like why do we have to press that button? And then he doesn't press the button. And then the hatch is gone.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like...
Yeah, it blows up.
Yeah. And I think that the hatch was, like, a better set.
You just didn't want to get off that?
Yeah.
You think they should have stayed there just so that we could keep that set?
Yeah. Because...
It serves as kind of the thematic crux for the season. and one of the big story cruxes for the season.
Yeah.
And by the time we finally blow it up, it kind of feels like we've been heading that way all along. I like the bookend for that season a lot, where at the beginning Locke is like trying to force Jack to make sure and keep pressing the button, because he believes that it's destiny and fate and that they're supposed to be doing that. And again, he's the believer and Jack is the skeptic. And then at the end, that's not flipped. Jack is not more the believer at this point, but now we have sort of like another John Locke in Echo. And,
Yeah.
and Echo is kind of like the even more extreme pure version of John Locke, where his faith cannot be shaken at all, and a lot of John's faith comes from personal insecurity in the first place, and he's looking for something to grab onto because he feels like his life has been a waste, and like he's kind of pathetic, and he doesn't want to feel that way, and this has been a way for him to feel important. And when you get to the end of the season, he's had his faith rattled. And Jason, can you remind everybody the main thing that has rattled John Locke's faith? The reason that he's no longer sure that that they were supposed to be pushing the button?
Is it that Henry said that he didn't push the button?
That starts it. Yeah, that's a good point. And that makes him start to doubt it a little bit. But then they go to the pearl.
Oh, yeah, and then they say that it's like a test.
Yeah.
But
And that it's just a social experiment.
Kind of is, but it also can kill you.
Yeah. But it also is still staving back that electromagnetic event. And what we find out is that, and this is, I always thought was a little convoluted, but or a little like overly complicated. This idea that the pearl was actually the social experiment. And that what they were really doing was testing those people while they were watching and writing in notebooks and notebooks and notebooks that they throw into pneumatic tubes about the people that are in the hatch.
Yeah.
So your bad thing is just that you're not caring for the character arc with Locke. You were having this first season too. You got to the end and you weren't sure you liked him anymore.
No, it was that at the end I liked him more.
Oh,
at
okay.
the beginning,
Excuse me.
Just didn't know much about him, and then I liked him more at the end.
Okay.
And then second season.
Yeah, I didn't remember that being what you said. Yeah, okay.
At the beginning of second season, I still like him, and then at the end, he becomes a character that I'm just like, what's going on now? And that keeps happening with him. It's like it switches to like, I don't know what's going on with his character, and then now I know what's going on with his character, and then now I don't know what's going on with his character.
Yeah, he has a lot of shifts.
Yeah, because he just transforms into a completely different person, basically.
So, are you saying that you wish that he would just stay rigidly the man of faith?
Yeah.
Or so in that instance, do you feel like Echo shouldn't have even come in? That he's like a redundant character, and John Locke should have just remained our kind of symbol of faith?
Well, it's kind of two different things because Locke has faith in like the island and stuff, and Echo has faith in his dreams.
Well, in God.
Yeah, and
boy,
God.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Where like you can have two kind of like man of faith characters, but they kind of have to be different.
Yeah, where those ideas come from.
Yeah.
Or what their initial motivations are. That's a terrific point. Because Locke doesn't start as a man of faith, even.
Yeah.
We're talking about all those shifts. He gets that from the miracle on the island of my legs work now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a terrific point. Because his Echo must think that all of his dreams are coming from God, and that this is all like a celestial thing.
Yeah.
And that the island is like some kind of, if not holy place, like a testing ground, like a purgatory. And he seems very much to think that it's a purgatory because he knows that he has major sins to atone for, and he's trying to go down a path to redemption.
Yeah.
Walking around with his Jesus stick, as Charlie calls it.
We locked a priest up in here. Remember that line from Desmond at the end?
Oh, yes.
I was wrong.
Yeah. No, look at the camera and say it like Locke says it.
I was wrong.
And you laughed at it in the moment, and you laughed at it in the recap.
Yeah. Well, I kind of laughed at it at the moment because I knew that it was going to happen.
Dan's news also thinks that's a hilarious line.
Yeah. I knew it was coming.
I was talking to him about Lost a couple weeks ago, and he goes, "The biggest thing I remember about season 2 is when Locke looks at the camera and goes, 'I was wrong!'"
I was expecting it, but I wasn't expecting it to be that funny.
I love Terry O'Quinn. That line reading is pretty funny.
Yeah. Let's see.
You're going to other bad stuff?
Should I switch? Should I go from like a bad thing to a good thing?
Well, that'd be fun. Yeah, we could mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, let's see. I like the cameos of the characters in the flashbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Where they keep showing up in different places.
Yeah, where we got those weird coincidences again. But we're doing a lot more of it than we did in first season.
Yeah. I think my favorite
Now I'll tell you, when you go back and do a rewatch on this, you'll notice even more of them in the first season. Because you know the characters better now, and so there are places where there's somebody in the background or somebody that'll pop up where you're like, oh, I didn't catch it the first time because I'm like familiar with that person's face now.
Yeah.
But you caught more of them, I think, on your first watch than I did. So.
Yeah. I think my favorite one is when Sawyer's like, "I'm walking here."
What kind of line is that?
Hey, I'm walking here. Because
that sounded natural.
Because I think it's the Rose episode where she.
Is that where it was?
Is it the Rose episode or is it like the Hurley episode or something?
I think it was maybe the Hurley episode. I forget.
I don't remember, but someone opens their door and he's like, "Hey, I'm walking here."
Yeah, that was really funny.
I'm like, I don't know if they would remember the people.
You think there's places where they should recognize people?
Yeah, especially since they show up everywhere on that one person's flashback.
Yeah. Yeah, so you and I talked about this off camera, but the big one where somebody met somebody before but actually remembers them is Jack and Desmond. And that's because they actually had a conversation together. They stood there and talked a while, and they had a significant conversation that mattered to both of them and maybe propelled them forward in some way.
Yeah.
And everything you're talking about is so hit or miss for me. Like you'd almost have to break down each one of them. And, like, I'm with you. There are some where I'm thinking like maybe you ought to recognize them, and then there's others where I'm like, well, it kind of makes sense that you wouldn't, that you just saw that person for a couple seconds, or like Sawyer going like, "I'm walking here." I wouldn't expect anybody to remember his face after that.
Yeah. The one
and to be fair, Hugo did remember Libby. He just couldn't place her.
Yeah. The one that I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
Is what's his face? So when Shannon is at the airport.
Yeah.
And still can't remember his name.
Describe him.
He starts with an S. He's the army guy. He likes computers. I forgot his
the,
name.
The army guy that likes computers.
Yeah.
Saeed.
Saeed.
Yeah.
When he's going to the airport and he has Shannon hold his bags for him. I would think maybe.
Yeah, you're right. That one's questionable.
Yeah, like maybe, and then they become like.
They get together.
Yeah, and they become like best friends, and I'm like,
Yeah, you'd think there'd be a line where it's like, I remember you from the airport. Yeah, that one does feel kind of retroactive. And what's really difficult with writing a show like this is, I'm sympathetic to this because you're not planning, every single beat before you get started, and you're you're plotting, as you go by the seat of your pants. That's easier and a lot of things try that and do it poorly. That's easier in something like Breaking Bad, which obviously you've not seen and you can't see because you're too young for it. But that show has some nonlinear storytelling, and they have to be really careful for everything to match up in their continuity. This is like a lot more nonlinear because you have. Because it's not just flashbacks like we talked about, in our first video, informing characters. Those flashbacks tend to be entire stories on top of an entire story, and so it's really difficult to not, in trying to fill in events and build characters, to add something retroactively that takes place before things you've done already that doesn't quite line up, and that's definitely one of those. Yeah, hold my bag. I would think that, they make direct eye contact. He's looking. They don't have a conversation like Desmond and Jack do, but yeah.
Yeah. And everyone probably remembers Jack yelling at the person.
That's a really good point too. Yeah.
And
I need to bury my father.
But no one remembers him.
Yeah.
And he's like right there, and
yeah, he causes a scene. Everyone would remember that.
Yeah. And everyone, even if they weren't looking at him, everyone would remember his voice.
Yeah.
And he yells a lot on the island, too.
Yeah, that's true. So they're hearing it at the same register. Yeah, that's a terrific point.
And I don't think so. I don't know if Walt remembers Hurley when he's like...
Yeah, and he probably ought to.
Yeah.
That's a good point, too.
Because that's the only thing he smiles at. And it's like...
So you want to talk about how intricately connected all of a sudden Libby is to stuff?
Yeah. There was one point where I, remembered her somewhere.
Because we see her again in a flashback toward the end when after she's died.
She's in the Desmond flashback.
Yeah.
I don't remember who she is.
So she gives Desmond the boat.
Oh yeah.
And the boat is called the Elizabeth, and it's named after her.
Yeah.
And she knew Hurley.
Yeah.
So, the connections are starting to become a lot more significant and a lot deeper and a lot less likely. And put a pin in that. Keep all that in mind. That, more and more, all of these people are really ultra interconnected. So that you can see if when we finally start to reveal why that is, if you buy it.
Yeah.
Because it's a big question. And again, I don't want to give anything away and tell you why any of that is. But when we get there, there's some question marks.
I wonder if, maybe... I don't think it's, a dream. I think it actually is, real life.
Okay.
But...
You're saying just the show
yeah.
In general? Just everybody on the island?
Yeah. Maybe it's some sort of, thing? I don't know. Maybe what it would be.
Okay, can we... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Because I don't... Well, maybe... I know the others have to be mixed up in this somehow.
Yeah.
'Cause, okay, why do we see Henry at the airport?
This is, by the way, what watching the show was like when it was on. It was just, you talk to your friends about it, and it was exactly what you're doing. How? What? Huh? What? Huh? Why?
So, in season 3, the episode we just watched,
yeah.
Henry shows up at the airport. Ben.
Oh, right. Yeah. Thank you. Because I know him through a lot more episodes as Ben.
Yeah. And I know him in a lot more episodes as he's not it.
So that's a big mind freak reveal moment that he's there, and I can't tell you about it. You'll just have to find out.
Maybe they're like not in. Maybe they don't actually live in the thing. And they're like lying about everything.
They're like even about that. So
yeah.
So you're saying you think they pretend like they live in huts, and then they also pretend like they live in this town on the island, but they actually live even somewhere else. Is that what you're saying?
They live on the island, but maybe they like found it and they're from like this place this other place island.
The others are from some other place?
Some other island that no one knows about.
Yeah.
And then maybe like
I'm not telling you.
Or maybe everyone else is on it. Maybe they think that they're in the Sydney, but they're actually in this other place when they're doing all the flashbacks. Or they're not actually in the...
Oh, you think it wasn't a plane crash?
No. I think...
You think they didn't get on an airplane?
I think...
And that it's all like an illusion of some kind? Do you think they're on a big holodeck?
No.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they're on like another island and they all think that they're in Australia, but they're not.
Okay.
I don't know.
So with your partial theory there, do you then think that Ben is lying when he says he's born on the island?
Yeah. That's the main thing that I'm just like, how? How were you born?
So you're already thinking that he's coming from someplace else.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give too much away, but I think I'm treading water that you've pretty much already treaded. We know that Dharma is not from the island.
Right.
Right? I mean, we know that, right?
Yeah. So
the other thing that we know, and we're getting into the beginning of season 3 now, the other thing we know, based on something Juliet tells Jack at the beginning of the season, is that the others are the remnants of the Dharma Initiative. Like, we do know that.
Okay, so maybe, there's like maybe they
Now, they may not all be, but that's the majority of it.
Maybe there's another island, and the others live on that place, and the Dharma place is also there.
Oh, okay.
And the others work at the Dharma place.
And that's what's going on? Okay. So let me ask you real quick about another theory that I don't know if you remember that you brought this up, but I really want you to talk about this because I was surprised and impressed that you thought of it. And again, I'm not going to give you anything. I'm not going to tell you anything. Okay. But I don't know if you remember this. Like midway through the second season, I'm forgetting what exactly it was, but there's oh, I know what it was. It's the Hugo episode. So there's the episode where he is again in the psych ward, and we find out that he had an imaginary friend in the psych ward, and the whole episode we're wondering if that guy is real. And this is really clever. At the end, they flipped it where on the island he's physically somehow actually real, but in the real world he was a figment of Hugo's imagination. And how in the world is that possible? And you had a theory about it.
Yeah. I don't remember what my theory was.
You said it very early in the episode, because, again, they're trying to at first make you think that it's a hallucination. and some of the things that people have seen on the island from off island feel like still they could be hallucinations, but you don't always know. But like the horse, more than one people were able to see, and you're like, oh my god, it's a horse. Like, how did that get here, right? And then you got like glimpses of Jack's father, but I don't think anybody else ever sees him. So like maybe that's a hallucination, maybe it's not. And then you get Hugo's imaginary friend and
Dave.
Dave, and he's physically there because somebody finds a shoe, and you're like, okay, so that's clearly not a hallucination. And you said, okay, so there's got to be a shapeshifter.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, because, like...
And your idea is that there is something that is transforming into all of those different things. Isn't that what you told me?
Yeah, and maybe even, the boar that ran into Sawyer's tent and the polar bear.
You think all of that...
Yeah, and maybe even the smoke monster, but I don't know about that.
You think maybe even the smoke monster?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, I can't remember what happens to the corpse of the polar bear. Because Sawyer shoots it.
I shot a polar bear.
I shot a bear! So, if the corpse disappeared, then you might be onto something there. But I don't remember what happened to the corpse. You'd think they'd take it back and eat it.
Yeah.
You know?
But they were trying to find that high ground where they were trying to do the communication thing.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's the pilot.
Yep.
He shoots the bear in the pilot,
yeah.
And they call back to it 3 seasons after that.
Well, yeah, because in the episode we just watched, we see another polar bear.
Yeah, and then he's like, I thought Sawyer shot a polar bear.
Okay, you said the high ground, so you got to do it with me. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. What is your favorite music sting in this show?
Probably the sad piano music.
You like the sad piano music?
I also love when they do it with violin and the hatch.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Let's see.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah, it's beautiful. Gino's a genius.
Yeah. Let's see.
Are we going back to bad stuff?
Yeah.
As we're bouncing around?
Sure. So, I don't like the whole thing between Charlie and Claire. Because they're like a couple in the first season, and then they're a couple in like... Kind of.
Yeah,
and then,
I love their dynamic in the first season where they don't straight up get together because she's about to have a baby and it's awkward, and even after that they still don't like straight up hook up.
Yeah, but they're more in the second season.
Yeah.
And then they just go away. And I don't like where he's like, for a bunch of different stuff she does this.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want this near my baby.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I mean, I guess...
She's trying to protect her kid.
Yeah, but...
Okay, so who did you find less likable and less sympathetic between those two, then?
Probably Charlie, because of the whole thing with the drugs. I don't like that whole thing.
Yeah.
I liked it a little bit in the first season, but when it just causes, like, things with the characters and stuff, and yeah. And then, I mean, I do like when Locke punches people, but...
Yeah. Well, and remember that the whole thing with him taking the baby and Locke punching him out and all that wasn't actually because he was taking drugs. But nobody believed him because he was keeping the statue with the heroin in it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. I guess I never fully got why he felt like he had to do that. Like,
yeah.
And I always assumed it must be because it was kind of like a security thing for him, where he's like he doesn't want to get addicted again, and he's he's not planning to do that, but he keeps it around as almost like a just in case thing, where he's still too weak-willed not to not have it around when it's there, and then he finally does get rid of all of it, but it's kind of too late at that point to patch up that relationship until you get into 3 when they start patching up that relationship, and I think kind of too easily.
Yeah.
You remember the beginning of the episode that we watched today, and in 4, like they're already just, I don't know if they're living together, but like they're just hanging out together like nothing happened.
Well, so what I don't get is, so 2 things.
Yeah.
First, he gets back from the crash on the island, and then
From the crash
with the not the crash, the when the hatch blows up.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then they're finally like, and then she just goes to him, and then they're together again. And I'm just like,
yeah, it's a little easy, and I just don't know that she should be trusting him right now.
also,
You know, because he was going through that whole kind of emo Charlie period. You remember the silly thing with the hoodie? It's like, I'm bad now. You remember that?
Yeah.
He's just been off trying to build a church, and then he almost dies, and then she's like, oh, thank God you're alive, and that wouldn't necessarily make her trust him again,
And
right?
also, they're finally together again, and then he just lies to her again.
About what?
How he doesn't know what happened.
Oh, with the hatch?
With the hatch and Locke.
Is that because Locke told him not to say anything, or he's just not talking about it? Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude.
So you feel like he hasn't learned from that situation? Yeah.
And also, like, he should know to. Like, does he want to not be trusted?
Yeah.
Like, is he like Sawyer, where he just wants to not be liked?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
Um.
Yeah, this is a dodgy period for him. I think he'll get a lot better later in the season.
Yeah, he's
So you'll just have to
kind
see,
of
but-
one of my least favorite characters in this season.
So far.
Yeah.
Or in 2, you
Just
mean,
in
yeah.
2.
I will say, I don't think this is giving too much away, that he and Desmond are fun together.
Yeah.
Later on, we'll put them together, and they're fun together.
We have put them together in 3.
Oh, I guess we've already started. Yeah.
We've started.
But they'll have some fun moments later.
Desmond finally becomes a main character.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you like Desmond a lot.
And I'm just like, he comes back, and then the last episode, which is a 2-parter, and both parts have his background.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, he's a main character now.
Yeah, I knew you were floored by that. You were like, wait, we're getting a Desmond flashback?
Yeah.
So you said right at the beginning of that, you were like, this guy matters?
Yeah. And I was thinking, because it was
So
the
did
last...
you expect to never see him again? Like, when
Yeah.
he leaves?
'Cause-
And did you wonder that whole season, okay, he left, where is he? Is he just, like, camping out on some other beach by himself? Because we didn't know he had a boat.
Yeah. And we didn't know that it was by Liddy.
Libby.
Libby.
The third time's the charm.
And he...
We didn't know that was Lizzie's boat.
I mean, her name is Elizabeth, but...
We didn't know that was Listy's boat.
Liddy's boat.
Liddy's boat.
But anyway, but yeah, I was just like, I was also thinking, like, maybe, it would be because it was the last season, or the last episode of season 2.
That would be unfortunate.
And it would be...
This show gets canceled after that cliffhanger.
Yeah. It would be the last... It's the last episode of season 2, and the last episode of season 1 does a whole bunch of different flashbacks, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
well, maybe he only gets 1 flashback. And then he gets like 4 in the season, and in the episode.
Yeah, they were, and then they're really consistent with that. So they did a 2-parter, and they had both parts flashbacks from the same guy.
Yeah. And I'm just like, like,
And that two-parter they did at the end of the first season was jumping around to everybody, if memory serves. I don't think that was flashbacks from any one person.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, maybe it's just a bunch of different people.
I will say that there's at least one more example later on where we'll do that again. Where we'll do an episode where we jump between a bunch of different characters in their flashbacks. I like those.
So,
I think those are fun.
So I like the new characters.
Yeah, break them down.
So we got...
Break it down now.
So we got Mr. Echo.
Yeah.
Which is, spoiler alert, one of my favorite characters in the season.
Yeah? Why is that a spoiler alert?
Because, he's on my characters list.
Okay, there you go.
I'm probably not going to mention him
actually
because this
dictionary definition of spoiler alert. Okay.
This is why I like him. So,
yeah, sure.
So we don't really know much about him, and what's funny
we end up finding out quite a bit about him when we get his flashback episode.
But when we first
you mean he's a mystery at the beginning?
Yeah, he's like a mystery, and before
when we find him from the tail section,
I thought maybe who is that? Desmond was from that plane.
Yeah.
That crashed. And then it's Mr. Echo, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
But also, I didn't know that they would be bad guys. I mean, black guys.
Yeah, just because
I don't know.
You don't know your geography well enough.
No, I don't. I didn't know. Are they?
That was the Nigeria. Yeah, that's Africa. Yeah.
I thought that was Asia.
Nope.
Yeah, that's why I thought like maybe.
Okay, now am I remembering this right though? Echo was actually on the plane. He's in the tail section. He didn't come from the two-seater. His brother did. His brother
did because remember that guy kicked him, and then they start getting off.
Yeah.
And then he goes on the plane.
It's also interesting how you have all these like thematic connections with characters, and when I say thematic, I don't just mean like what the show's about, but I mean like motifs that different characters will have in common in different ways. So like you already have what are the odds with all these characters that have met each other winding up on this island, but you also have what are the odds with a guy addicted to heroin on the same plane as a guy who used to secretly embezzle or like run heroin to another country from Nigeria. Like, what are the odds of that?
But what I don't get is...
These are all questions that I was asking my first time around with this, where I was withholding judgment until I got to the end of the series.
Yeah. And he's a priest, but...
He's a fake priest.
Is he a fake priest?
Yeah, he's pretending to be a... So his brother was actually a priest. He forced his brother to make him a priest so that he could pretend to be taking those statues to whatever country they were running those to. I can't remember if they were just going to America where they were going. Oh, I guess they were going to. Were they going to Australia? Is that where they were going?
Well,
all this is running together in my head right now.
Probably not, because he goes from Australia to. Well, where was that plane going?
That's what I can't remember.
From Australia to somewhere.
Oh, you mean the plane that crashed?
The plane that crashed.
The big plane?
Yeah, the big plane.
Oh, well, they're going back to California.
Then it was probably America, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was probably going to the same place that plane was going.
Yeah.
That's why he was, like, going.
But yeah, we don't... But by the time we get to Echo's flashback, we actually know quite a bit about his history.
Yeah.
That opens with that really intense... This was one of the scenes I was actually kind of worried about you seeing, just at your age, because I was just afraid that it might be too dramatic. We opened that episode with him as a kid, stepping in and killing that guy so that his brother didn't have to.
Yeah.
And then that makes him become... the Echo he becomes, and if his brother had to do it, what would he have been like? Is kind of the big question.
Yeah, would he become the Mr. Echo of the series?
Yeah.
Like, would he be the person who would actually?
Well, would he be the mercenary? Would he be the killer?
Yeah, and would he be actually on that big plane and maybe be part of the main characters.
So can we talk about violence real quick, like we did with the first season? I'm going to check back in with this topic probably every time. Was there anything this season that really bothered you or really creeped you out or was hard to sit through? And was that scene one of them?
I don't remember that.
You didn't think that was too tough?
I think probably Michael killing everyone.
Oh, yeah.
That
sure.
was where I was just like, what?
Yeah, you were speechless.
Yeah. And
yeah,
then,
that was interesting to watch with you.
Yeah. I like how they bring back actors that play characters that have died. That play the same character because they're only in the flashback.
Yeah.
I like that.
And we're getting into the point where we're starting to do it with hallucinations also, but...
Yeah. But I don't think we've got...
Because we did it with Boone in that third season episode we watched today.
Yeah.
Where you had a we'll do it in hallucinations or dream sequences.
He finally, talks like a normal person this time.
He had to die first.
Yeah, he had to die, and then he's just, kind of trying to be a main character.
Boone?
Yeah.
You know what would be really funny? If Locke starts seeing Boone in his dream, and the first thing Boone says is, Teresa falls up the stairs. Teresa falls down the stairs.
And Boone grew hair.
They must have not made him, change his grooming habits from whatever other TV show is on at that point. Because I don't know if he's on another show at that point. I don't think Vampire Diaries is happened yet. I forget. But anyway, so but back to the big scene, because this is one of the huge plot points of the season we've got to talk about is the big Michael turn, where he betrays everybody in pursuit of getting his son back.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been holding Ben for several episodes.
Yeah.
He came from somewhere. We think he's one of the others. We don't trust him. Jack and Locke, this is one of the only things they agree on, is that we've got to hold this guy for questioning and see what we can learn about him.
Yeah.
And we can't let him loose because we don't know what he'll do. And it turns out that they're actually both right about it because he's the leader of the others, which we won't know until really the beginning of the third season for sure. Yeah. Well, no. I guess the because he's out on the pier, isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't he? Am I right about that?
Yeah.
At the end of that season?
Yeah.
So I guess at that point we probably know that he's the leader.
I don't know if, I didn't really know if he was the leader or if the guy with the fake beard was the leader.
Yeah.
Because it looked like that guy was the leader.
Would someone please explain to me what the point of the fake beard was? There's no point to that. That seemed like just a mystery for the sake of a mystery. Because it's like, oh, okay, I get that we're trying really hard to the others to make the people on the island think that they're living in squalor and that they're not doing as well as they are, so that they'll underestimate them. But the fake beard thing is just going too far. Just grow a beard, dude. I don't understand.
Yeah.
And he could still look kind of scruffy. Does he have to wear spirit gum on his face all the time? That's so silly.
Yeah. And so basically the person tells him to bring all these guys.
Miss Clue.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got the clues, Jayson.
I don't know. I don't have a clue as to who she is. But
she's Miss Clue.
But basically she tells him to bring, she gives him a list of those guys that he only has to bring those guys. And he's like, who's James Ford? and basically, and then Saeed wants to come, and he tries to come, but
Michael's like, you can't come because it has to only be these people.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't bring all 5 of them, and Jack is in there, and
Sawyer,
Kate is in there,
Kate,
and Hurley. And if he doesn't bring all 5 and only those 5, he'll never see his son
Or
again.
4.
Is what we're told.
Yeah. And
so when he gets back to the island to try to bring them back, the first thing he's supposed to do is to let Ben out. So he goes to the hatch and he lets Ben out, and then the first person who walks in on him is Ana Lucia. And he murders Ana Lucia in cold blood.
Yeah.
And then
Libby
walks in, and he turns around and instinctually shoots her too, and we lose 2 main characters in the same scene.
And he shoots him 2 times.
It was like 24 season 5, man. It was like, what is happening?
Yeah. Wait, really?
Yeah, that happens in that show too.
This guy just kills a bunch of people.
There's just a place where we lose like 2 huge great characters in the same scene.
Oh.
If memory serves.
I mean, this time there's a great character and there's a not great character. So.
Yeah, we should talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But so you were devastated.
Yeah.
When that happened.
Yeah, I was just like...
Was it just because, like, the scene was hard to watch, or was it because, oh no, we lost Libby?
Well, it was just because I thought Michael was the person who wasn't killing everyone. I thought if it was someone, it had to be Sawyer.
Boy,
if it was someone who was killing people.
You think?
Yeah, I think it would probably
So you could see Sawyer becoming the turncoat?
Yeah, Sawyer or Kate.
Interesting. But I can see why you'd say that, because like in a crunch, if she thought that she didn't have a way to escape, because she's all about running, she's always out for herself, she's gonna run. Yeah, I mean, I could see you thinking she might kill somebody for the sake of.
Yeah,
or Charlie. Interesting.
Because he kills the bad guy.
But remember the conversation we had? Yeah, we have seen him kill somebody if he thought it was necessary.
Yeah.
You know, we know that he has that in him. Remember the conversation we had, first video, about how this is a purgatory, and how most of these characters have done something that they need to atone for.
Yeah.
So you could put almost any of them in that box. Like, now that you're saying that, I can see why you go to certain people and say, I could maybe see, this person, like, when I'm trying to guess who's on the other side of that gun. Just simply, not even what the motivation is, I don't know what's happening yet, but just who's on the other side of that gun. The last person you expected was Michael.
Yeah, if it was Locke, then he probably would have to have a rifle, or he would have to kill them with a knife. That's probably...
I mean, the person that you would most expect it to be would be Ana Lucia, if it wasn't herself who got killed.
Yeah, if it was, like, her killing Michael or Libby.
Like, Ana Lucia gets shot, and then Jayson is like, oh, we're going to turn around, we're going to see Ana Lucia. She shot herself. Because Ana Lucia just shoots people. That's what she does. I thought that was something of a, like, poetic death, kind of.
She even shot me, like, 5 times.
What?
Hey, Jayson.
Oh my god, that's dark. Anyway.
That actually happens.
What do you mean?
In the flashback. She's like, hey, Jayson.
Oh, there's a character named... I could not figure out what you were talking. That's hilarious. I thought you were making a joke. Okay, so...
I am making a joke.
I forgot that.
Not that kind of joke.
I forgot that guy's name was Jayson. Anyway, so how bad did you feel about that? Like, was Michael a character you liked a lot? You didn't want to see this happen to him?
No.
Because, this is his big tragic moment. Like, the bad stuff that he's done before this is pretty much just not getting to know his son well enough, and I feel like he gets thrown under the bus for that. Like, I feel like it's somewhat understandable that he doesn't know his son very well, and everybody is constantly judging him for it. Well, why do you care about your son? You don't know anything about him. Well, the circumstances are complicated. But now he's actually had the moment that he kind of now needs to be in the purgatory for.
Mm-hmm. And the thing So I was just kind of surprised by it.
Yeah.
I didn't really like feel bad about anything. I was just like, at the moment, I'm just like, we just killed off 2 people, 2 main characters, like nobody's business,
and turned a major character into an antagonist.
Yeah. Well,
which was a big deal on broadcast TV right then. I mean, that's just the kind of thing that you didn't see all the time. You know, circa 0405.
Yeah.
So, but you're not devastated that, because the way you put this earlier is interesting, because you were saying, well, we literally lost 2 people, but then also Michael turns. So effective, it's almost like you lost a 3rd character, because like he's not dead, but
I thought he might be dead.
Yeah.
Because he shoots himself, but I didn't know that if you shoot yourself,
he just shot himself in the shoulder.
In the shoulder, then you don't die.
Well, see, your heart's not there. That's not where the heart is.
Yeah, but wouldn't you die just anywhere on the chest?
No, not necessarily.
Oh.
Yeah, you can survive a gunshot to the shoulder.
Probably not
If
the
it's
head.
not if it's not treated properly and it's a bad enough wound, you could die from it eventually, but you're not going to instantly die from a gunshot to the shoulder.
It's probably like either the
the head's where your brain is,
or the heart. It's
yes.
Probably like But anyway, let's see. It's a lot of things. Another bad thing.
Going back to bad things.
Is the last bad thing that I have. So I don't like Shannon's death.
We talked about that a little bit last time, didn't we?
No, we talked about Boone's death. Well, yeah, we kind of talked about Shannon's death.
We touched on it, but yeah, go ahead.
But, Anna Lucia.
And this is why I said her death is kind of poetic, right? Because she gets killed in a similar way to the way she kills Shannon.
Yeah.
Although Libby dies a lot more like Shannon does, because that is a straight up accident.
Yeah.
The difference being that Jack is right or whoever it is. No, Hurley's right when he says, but if you'd known it was her, you would have killed her anyway, because you couldn't have anybody knowing that you were the turncoat.
Yeah.
But anyway, what were you saying?
So, first off.
Yeah.
Anna Lucia, stupid character. I agree with you entirely. But there are some episodes where she's pretty good.
She gets better.
And then she dies.
Enough that I feel a little bad about her death.
Yeah. And so, first that. And also, she's one of my least favorite characters. And also, Shannon, I don't like Shannon that much in the first season. Just because she's nervous about everything, and she like, is like, and then, and she's like, I can't do this. And then in season 2, she actually becomes a good character, and then she dies.
You think so? What turned her around for you?
She actually started, doing more stuff. I felt like
she was contributing more and felt more like she deserved to be there.
Yeah.
Did you like her relationship with Saeed?
Yeah.
That's one of those couples that should not work, and I think it does.
I think it works because
they don't look like they should go together.
He kind of turns her around.
Yeah. Well, he helps her build self-confidence.
Yeah. And that's why that relationship works.
That is, by the way, such a Whedon move that just as a couple of characters are getting really deeply involved with each other and building that kind of a connection, you kill one of them off. That we're gonna have a picnic. Now you're dead. Like, that's such a Whedon move.
Yeah.
And then the exact same thing happens with Hurley and Libby. We're gonna have a picnic. Now you're dead.
Yeah.
They also didn't get to have that picnic. Well, I guess they don't. They almost do, but he can't find the beach. that Saeed found for him. So they just wind back up. That's a hilarious moment. They wind back up on their beach.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, there's whoever it was. I forget who was standing on the beach there, but that was really funny.
It was Sun.
Was it Sun?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. And he's like, surprise! And Libby goes, this is our beach. She goes, no, it's not. That's Sun.
And then he's like, wait, how did you find our beach? And I wish that's what happened.
That would be really funny. Hurley is...
I'm sorry, I forgot the blankets.
Hurley is equally sad and has a lot of pathos and also funny this season. Like, the balance of humor and drama with him is impeccable. I said I was impressed with that first season, but second season, that's ramped up to 11. Like, he's the one, the other person besides Saeed who loses, the person that he's starting to fall in love with. Yeah. And he still is able to play a lot of scenes for comedy when that's warranted, because that's how he diffuses tense situations, and that's just his natural sensibilities. He's never out of character when we do that. He never, like I said before, he never plays like just a straight up comic relief character.
Yeah.
But you didn't like that we killed Shannon off like that. Yeah.
There's a lot of characters that we just kill off.
But we were glad to see Ana Lucia go to some degree, even though she was better. But
I don't like how bad characters like Boone, Shannon, and Ana Lucia start getting way better, and then they die. And I was like, seriously? Now they're just bad characters.
And at this point, I bet you're finding yourself going, okay, who's the next character that we're going to add, I'm going to hate, I'm going to come to appreciate a little bit, and then they're going to die.
Yeah.
You're like waiting for that to happen again.
It's probably going to be Michael. I'm thinking. He's probably going to drown or something.
Are you predicting drowning?
Yes.
Everybody just remember that. Jayson predicted drowning. Anyway, go ahead. Just keep in mind, everybody. Jayson predicted drowning. Go ahead.
So, let's see. So, yeah. We already talked about this a little bit, but I like the whole thing with the Dharma Initiative and the Hatch. And, I like that that's a pretty good set, and they use it a lot. Like, they use it more than the beach set, which I like the beach set, too. I think it's actually just a beach, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. They shoot in Hawaii. Is it on to you that more people don't want to live in it?
Yeah.
It seems like nearly everybody is content to stay on the beach.
And no one goes to the caves in second season.
Yeah.
The caves are not in second season.
That's because, like I told you, Lindelof hated that set.
Yeah.
But they really, and there's talk about it. Somebody's like, I'm just gonna go be a hermit, live in the cave.
That's in Dave. That's in that Hurley episode with Dave.
Oh yeah, Hurley was like, I'll just go live in the cave.
Yeah, we mention it, but it's nowhere in the. And
oh, I don't know if people are gonna agree with this. I had this thought this time around. With Hurley real quick, since we were there, because I'm praising Hurley a lot. I have one issue with Hurley that season, which is after the way he managed to get over his fears and insecurities with being in charge of the food in the first season. Do you remember that? Where he's like, I don't want to have wealth of any kind where I'm in charge of spreading it.
That's not first season. That's my favorite episode in 6 and
Oh no, you're right. That is it's the beginning of toward the beginning of second, because that's after they've already gotten into the hatch. No, you're right.
In the hatch.
You're right. Okay, so that cool thing and then this problem I have are both in the same season. Okay. Anyway, yeah, thanks. You're right. But they're running together for me now too. So Hurley, because of his lottery winnings, is like people are gonna hate you if you don't give them what they want over somebody else, and because it's like you're playing favorites, but you're trying to be fair to everybody, and that's very difficult. He didn't want to be put in that situation again, and I loved that. I think that's a really relatable dilemma, and so at the end, he gives away everything instead of hanging on to it, and it was a really great solution. He felt really good about himself, and then we find out later that he hoarded some of it. I have a really hard time with that.
So, I don't think he hoarded it. I think he stole it from people.
From individual people?
Yeah.
No, that's not what he said. I think he even mentions that he held on to some of it.
Well, but he has peanut butter, and the only.
I think that's just a mistake.
Okay. Cause
I really do. It's way worse if he's ripping people off individually just so that he can hoard food. Like, that would be so much worse.
Yeah.
If it's what you're saying, I hate it even more. I hope that's not what it is. I don't think that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But the way he's playing it at the end of that episode, I have a really difficult time buying that he's got a secret stash.
Well, it's he just he likes food.
Yeah, no, and I get that, but I feel like he would, because obviously the actor doesn't know that, so he's playing it as if it's what the script says that it is, and if he's actually got a secret stash, I would think that he would be playing that scene with a lot more I don't know what word I'm looking for, but like, I wouldn't think that he would look as genuinely happy as he does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He doesn't.
He should have a little worry in his face.
Yeah, but I don't think.
I'm talking when he's handing all the food out in slow motion.
Oh yeah.
And like, it's so satisfying for him to do that. And you're telling me that guy kept some of it?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I have a really tough time with that.
But he's also kind of sad that he did. So.
Yeah, but it's like it's bittersweet, but not in the sort of way where he, not in a regretful way. I guess that's what I was looking for. He looks like later on you'd think he'd have a little regret in that scene, is what I'm saying.
But every time he eats, that's when Dave shows up.
Yeah, but that's all later. That's all retroactive. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what part of the episode we're talking about.
What I'm saying is we learn later on when we find his stash that he kept all that food after when he handed all that food out. In the scene where he hands the food out, you'd think he'd have a little regret on his face.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't buy that. I have a tough time with that. But anyway, what else you got?
That's about it. Episodes.
So favorite characters?
Oh yeah, favorite characters.
So you mentioned Echo.
So yeah,
and by the way, you're not alone in that. A lot of people love Echo.
Yeah. And I mentioned like what I like about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And same thing with my bad characters about Charlie and Anna Lucia.
Did you put her on the list?
Yeah. So I still like Sawyer. I think I like him more than ever because.
Wow.
He's great. He starts conning people.
Yeah.
And he's got a girlfriend that's even crazier than he is.
Yeah, that's a cool episode.
Yeah.
What'd you think of his I got the guns and if you want one you gotta come to me speech?
Yeah.
It's a good speech.
Yeah. Let's see.
How do you feel about the love triangle this time around? If we can even call it that right now. Jack Sawyer and Kate.
And Kate. Sort of.
That's what I'm saying, sort of, because once we put Ana Lucia in the mix, it kind of interrupts all that, because there's you think for a while that she and Sawyer might get together, or might actually have a relationship, because they actually end up sleeping together, but only so that she can steal his gun, which is like obvious, like that's gonna happen in that scene. But
I don't think they actually sleep together.
Yeah, they do.
Well, they kiss.
No, they sleep together.
And that's how she gets his gun. Is they kiss and then she grabs his gun.
I think it goes farther than that.
Well, I don't really remember that scene very much, but
yeah, it definitely goes farther than that.
Yeah.
Because she's got that whole, like, if you tell anybody about this speech.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think before that, I found myself wondering if she might even get together with Jack.
Well,
but then we get past that pretty quick, and they basically just become kind of co-generals in this like war against the others. Not that it's a war yet, but where they're just battle strategy.
Yeah. Is there gonna be a war?
I mean, I'm not gonna tell you anything.
Yeah, so I like Hurley better in this season than I do. I think that's why I'm putting him as a favorite character in this season, but not in season 1.
You did in season 1?
Because I like him in season 1, but he just doesn't get much to do. He gets a lot to do, but we don't know much about his backstory in season 1, and then in season 2 we know a lot about him.
Is it 1 or 2 flashback episodes for him this season?
2.
Yeah, I thought so.
Because we have the Dave one, and we have the Everyone Hates Hugo one.
I thought that was the season, yeah.
And that's my favorite episode.
This is Everyone Hates Hugo?
Yeah, and you kind of said everything that I like about that episode, so.
Sorry about that. But it's great.
Yeah. My least favorite episode is Fire and Water.
What happens in that one?
That's the one with the piano out in the ocean, and he's trying to save the baby.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that.
Yeah.
I think that's just going way too far.
Well, and you don't like what we're doing to Charlie.
Yeah, 'cause he kind of became my favorite character in season 1. And then at the end of season 1, he's not that great. And he's still not that great in this season.
Yeah.
And then he becomes a kind of good character in the one episode I've seen in season 3.
That he's in, yeah. But he'll get more to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll be on your favorite characters list for this season, or for season 3, but it could happen.
Yeah. But yeah. It's just that whole thing like, I gotta save the baby, but it's just a dream, and I don't even know how he finds the baby. Like, he goes out in the ocean. He doesn't go into the, I don't know.
I mean, he must have gone to her tent, but like, he knows where it is. When you're sleepwalking, you find things sometimes. I don't know. Well, is that gonna do it?
Yep.
All right, cool. Everybody, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you again for season 3 in the not too distant future. Jason, it was a lot of fun talking about this with you once again. It was cool.
Yep, it was cool.
Well, folks, leave your comments. Let us know what you think of this season if you have watched it, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Jason.
We'll see you again next time.